ESPN Sports.
Lovely weekend continues. It is game number 3 of this 3-game series between the White Sox and the first-place Indians out of the American League Central. Just a beautiful Friday, Saturday, and Sunday weather-wise in Chicago. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And you know, when it's trade season, you might be saying farewell to somebody you really like. And we've really enjoyed Melky Cabrera and his time in Chicago, but his antics are moving.
Well, Kansas City certainly believes they're in the thick of the race, and they acquired a very good player in Melky Cabrera and sent back A.J. Puckett, last year's #1 draft pick, 9-7 this year. He throws in the mid-90s, so they got a pretty good pitcher. And Andre Davis, the record is not all that great, but pretty good, 87 strikeouts and 85 2/3. So Melky moves into a race for the postseason. Well-deserved for Melky, who spent a little less than 3 years here, but was a delight to have on the ball club, and he's a good hitter.
As we've told you, the Sox are looking toward the future, and we saw a glimpse of it last night defensively from the top prospect in baseball.
Yoan Moncada made 2 brilliant plays back-to-back last night. You're thinking this is a base hit, but Moncada on the third base side is second, loops it across and gets him. And then a play that you couldn't believe unless you saw it, and there it is. The backhand flip of the glove, and unbelievable plays by Moncada. Carlos Rodon goes to the mound, so we saw some of the future last night. We're seeing a little bit more of it here this afternoon. He struck out 11 in 4 innings against the Cubs, but unfortunately, he didn't have his masterful control. That's been a problem. This is still his spring training, so he goes out hoping to get a redeemer here today. He's going to be opposed by Josh Tomlin. His last 3 starts, 3-0 with an ERA just over 3. But the career against the Indians for Carlos Rodon has been brilliant. He's 4-1 with an ERA of 2.45. So hopefully he has a good one in the finale of this series. The Indians have a 3-game lead in the Central.
This is as well as Cleveland has played all year. 9 straight games in the win column, the hottest team in baseball.
There's no doubt when you look at the numbers, you realize why they've won 9 in a row. Number one, they had a 7-game winning streak at home, swept the whole homestand. And when you hit 324 over 9 games, hit 14 home runs, you're averaging over 7 runs a game for those 9 games, and runs allowed only 26. So they've put a little daylight between themselves and the Royals, and certainly between themselves and the Twins. The Twins look like they're looking ahead to next year. The Royals believe they can still get there this year.
Tomlin versus Rodon, game number 3 as the Sox take on the Indians. First pitch coming up shortly. Welcome back to Chicago, just a couple of states over from one of the most special baseball days on the calendar. It is Hall of Fame induction weekend and induction day, and a former White Sox player who it took too long to get into the Hall of Fame is going in. Just went in fact, earlier today, Tim Raines.
Tim Raines was just a great player, and being recognized at Cooperstown, it certainly shows everybody that he could really get it done in every aspect of the game. Not to mention he was a very popular player wherever he went. And this is well-deserved and a long time coming for Tim Raines. Well, we know he can hit. He had over 2,600 hits. Certainly played a little defense, and he could steal a base. Only 808 of them for Tim Raines as he steals one. And then we'll take a look at some defense. He goes back to the wall. Perfect timing on this leap. Hauls it back in, robbing a home run. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. 294 career batting average. The rest of the numbers spectacular. Stolen bases at 808 and the hits over 2,600. So this is a very talented guy. Well deserved. He's having a thrilling day today, and he'll always be at the top of his peers.
Jeff Bagwell, Ivan Rodriguez, among others going in. We'll tell you a little bit more throughout the telecast about Cooperstown and the Hall of Fame weekend. For now, we step aside before first pitch. The White Sox and the Indians in the series finale. TV is brought to you by Xfinity, changing the way you watch sports on TV. Carlos Rodon has led the Sox out onto the field. Another beautiful day for baseball here at Guaranteed Rate Field. Here's Terry Francona's lineup for the Hot Tribe. They've won 9 in a row, and Francisco Lindor is at the top today with Santana dropping down, Zimmer as well, then Jackson and Ramirez, Encarnacion, Santana, and Geyer Urshela's back in. Perez behind the plate for the first time this series, and the speedster Zimmer at the bottom today.
Let's take a look at the defense, and how they're going to line up behind Carlos Rodon. Leary Garcia in the lineup as Melky Cabrera was traded before the game. Then Adam Engel and Willie Garcia rounding it out with Saladino, Anderson, Moncada, and Davidson in the infield. Kevin Smith gets a nod behind the plate, and Carlos Rodon on the hill. There you look at the numbers. It's just his 6th start. The ERA a lot higher than he would like, as is the opponent's batting average. And what he's got to do is pinpoint his fastball. Establish that, then the wipeout slider is terrific, and he's working on a straight change. And the umpires for the game this afternoon, Lance Barrett has the plate. Clint Fagan at first, the crew chief, Bill Welke at second, and Jim Reynolds is at third. So they've thrown the ball around the infield. That means we're ready to go, and I'm ready to turn it over to Jason Benetti.
Steve, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and play one more against the Cleveland Indians, who, as we've seen, are as patient of a team as is going to be on the schedule, with the exception of 1 or 2 others. They're top 4 in Major League Baseball in walks. They're top 5 in pitches seen per plate appearance. And here is a taken strike one as we are underway at 1:10 this afternoon. Lindor 4 for 9 in the series. Couple of 2-hit games so far, as he's watched 2, and he's down 0-2. for Carlos. That breaking ball down and in has done some damage, and he gets a strikeout right there. 3 pitches to the strikeout.
The wipeout slider is as good as anybody's slider probably in the game. And when he gets ahead, he can use it and use it well. He knows he's using well too much as far as the pitches are concerned early, hoping to limit that. And as you can see, that's where he gets his strikeouts.
Number
Away
11.
and up.
Yep. Number 11 in that position comes against Lindor. 1 down, and Jackson the batter. And that is called ball number 1 to Austin Jackson, who is 3 for 8 in this series, including a double yesterday. Just the 6th start of the year for Carlos Rodon, who was on the disabled list until that June 28th start against the Yankees when he went 5 innings, gave up no earned runs, 3 unearned runs, and the strikeout totals have been alternatingly low and high, with 10 strikeouts on July the 3rd at Oakland and the 11 at Wrigley in his last start.
Well, the way this rotation is now, and quite obviously a lot of trades, and the trades continue and will for some time, even after the trading deadline comes to pass, you can still make a trade if you get waivers on the player. So we'll see a few more heading down the lane, but this is the point for most teams where they're going to start to put the hammer down.
Just off the plate, 3-2.
We're seeing it a lot with Cleveland and Kansas City both. Kansas City's won 9 of their last 10, as has the Tribe, and both of them geared up to take this into August and September in a pennant race.
Sox, with the trade of Melky Cabrera, now have a 40-man roster that's at 35. So there are some opportunities to jump on that 40-man for some younger players for the Sox.
You know, after Austin Jackson hits, I will inform you of some news because the trading deadline is tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have been traded.
Oh, geez. Sorry to hear that. Now for the first, here's Steve. Into left center field, and Jackson tests the brake pads. It's a 1-out single for Austin Jackson. Well, it's been fun.
Yeah,
great fun.
As we take a look at the base hit again, low fastball, and Jackson goes down and gets it.
You gonna wait till in game to tell me that? It's terrible.
Well, we didn't think that you could get injured before the trade took place. So
you've never seen me navigate the world too much, then, huh? Injury's my middle name. Here's Ramirez. He's swept out of the way, and Smith trying to find the baseball. But when you look at what the Sox did today, Melky Cabrera goes to Kansas City. It is A.J. Puckett who's in advanced A with Wilmington. So the White Sox are actually just compiling the entire Carolina League, it seems like. Eloy Jimenez went over to Winston-Salem from Myrtle Beach. Now Wilmington loses a player to Winston-Salem, likely. In the air left side, Saladino and Anderson, and it's Tim Anderson in foul territory. Out number 2.
And we've seen Tim this year. He's had some problems with both the throws and the glove. But catching pop-ups, he's masterful. He's got great range. He's fearless. A lot of infielders hate to run out when they can see an outfielder running toward the ball. Tim just goes and tries to get everything, and then when he's called off, he's called off. But that part of his game has been strong since he came to the big leagues.
Encarnacion takes a strike, throw down to second, goes trickling into short right field, and Austin Jackson, who seemed to be the only one in the ballpark that knew he was going, steals bag number 1.
Well, I do believe what Carlos does is he'll look over and then just go right into his move. And even though it is a slide step, very little chance for Kevin Smith to throw him out. So a good jump by Austin Jackson, who these days, that's a surprise party when he goes.
Carlos willing to throw inside on Encarnacion, who leads the Indians with the 21 home runs. Only one hit in this series, couple of walks, one of which was intentional 2 days ago in the opener, that 9-3 Cleveland win.
Where Carlos is going to have to be careful is if he goes inside, he wants to go inside off the plate, because Encarnacion likes the ball down. He would prefer it middle in if he could get it. So far, Carlos has not established the outside corner, which is something that he's going to have to do if he's going to stay inside with a lot of the sliders and fastballs.
Inside again, 3 balls and a strike. Kansas City did lose last night late to Boston on a tumbling act by Sandy Leon to score. So the Royals dropped a game to Cleveland. It's a 3-game spread now. The largest division lead of the year for Cleveland. Inside ball 4. It's a 2-out walk to Encarnacion, and now the walk machine, Carlos Santana, coming up.
Indians have been somewhat surprising. Not that they've won 9 in a row, because they are a good baseball team, but the fact is they're only 4 over at home, which is most unusual for them. They usually take advantage of Progressive Field. But where the Indians have been good, they're 8 over 500 on the road, and that's pretty strong. Minnesota's still very good, 6 over 500 on the road. Those are the only 2 teams in the division that have winning records away from their home parks.
Carlos misses high, and that draws a meeting from Kevin Smith. Cleveland talked about that 9-game win streak. It's the longest win streak for the Indians since a 14-gamer last June 17th to July the 1st. And we had talked about it being possibly a matter of time until they expanded that lead in the Central over Minnesota. But with Kansas City's start, didn't necessarily expect the Royals to be the closest competition.
I think the Royals, for a good portion of this year at least, were thinking about being sellers at the deadline. As it turns out, they're not, because they're in the thick of things.
Be interesting to see how Kansas City uses Melky Cabrera.
Well, I'd be shocked if he played left. Alex Gordon with 4 Gold Gloves is out there. Center field is out of the equation with Kane, so it leaves you one spot, and that would be right field, depending on who they want to DH on any given day. But he's going to help that ball club, because Melky can hit. He's been there before. He's comfortable in Kansas City.
Ball boomerang back to Santana, and though he was a catcher on his way up through the minors, he did not make that play.
Now, he hasn't caught too much recently, and that's probably much to his delight. Indians go to Boston, where they take on the Red Sox. The Red Sox currently with a 2-0 lead over Kansas City. That game in the top of the 3rd at Fenway.
Ball and 2 strikes from Rodon, and Santana pops it up. That will do it for the Indians in the first inning. They've been held scoreless in each first inning, despite a base runner in every one this series. Tomlin out next. America runs on Duncan. Welcome back to Leury Garcia after the finger injury and some rehab. Saladino bats second, then Abreu DHing. Davidson takes over first, then Moncada, Smith, Anderson, Garcia, and Engel.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they line up. Behind Josh Tomlin, it's Jackson, Zimmer, and Geyer in the outfield with Urshela, Lindor, Ramirez, and Santana in the infield. Roberto Perez gets a nod behind the plate. The strike throwing machine, Josh Tomlin, on for his 20th start. He's 7-9 at ERA, above 5.5, but he will throw strikes, only 12 walks in 106.1 innings.
His last 3 starts have been admirable, at least 6 innings, and at most 3 earned runs for Tomlin, who will, as you said, pitch to contact. And there is ball number 1 to Leury Garcia, who's back after 3 rehab games. A .298 average, .345 on base, and slugging .459 in a very strong early offensive year.
Tomlin throws just about every pitch and uses variations on everyone because his stuff isn't great, but because he's always around the plate, he's been pretty effective, especially if you consider him a number 5 starter. And I don't view the Indians as being really aggressive at the deadline or even thereafter, but what they're going to get is essentially 2 terrific trades, because Kipnis first, then Chisenhall will come back and add it to this lineup. They're going to really help.
It's strike 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's currently a fine lineup as it is, with 9 runs scored and then 5 in the first 2 games in this series. But you talk about depth, and they certainly will add it. Garcia behind that pitch, and strikeout number 1 for Tomlin as we show you our picks to click. You can vote online at whitesox.com/picks and pick your pick to click. Crew with the lead. The fans won yesterday. Kevin Smith to the Crew. Steve, you go with Saladino. I've got Willie Garcia. The fans take Anderson. I don't know. I think Saladino's going to have a game today. I really do.
Well, you know, you can only get burned so often on the picks to click, but I decided that Tyler's the man. This will be a very good day for him.
Yeah, I feel good for you.
I would absolutely give it to him right now. Were I in charge of this?
That's not how it works. Good try, though. He does have a home run against Tomlin in his career, 2 for 8 with a homer. In fact, Sox have 4 separate players in the lineup who've homered against Tomlin in their career.
Well, he's going to give up some home runs because he's around the plate so much. He's given up 19 home runs this year in 106 innings. But if most of them are solo shots, and a lot of them are because he's only walked 12, you get away with those.
Strikeout number 2 for Tomlin. Back-to-back to start the game. By the way, in Double-A last night, the Birmingham Barons went 21 innings. 4 straight walks in the 21st inning. You have a position player on the mound, and that's kind of the issue. Once you get to inning number 21 in Double-A, you don't have a lot of pitching depth. So Toby Thomas, a position player, walked 4, and the Chattanooga Lookouts won 2-1 in actually a pretty briskly played 5-hour, 29-minute, 2 games and a third.
I think that's actually very briskly played. But, you know, that's part of the plan, is you want the young players as they're coming up to experience everything that happens in the major leagues. So you occasionally throw in a 21-inning game so that they know what it's like to go deep into games and feel disappointed giving up a lead late only to see it slip away late. You get that experience, and that's good. Very good for them, by the way. Not so good for us at 5.5 hours.
Some would argue that minor league games, if any game is going to have a limit on innings, it should be a minor league game, considering what it does to your pitching depth and young arms as it stands with possible injuries and things like that. And I know Sox hitting coach Todd Steverson was involved in something revolving around that topic 5 years ago. He was a roving hitting instructor for the A's and substituting as a manager in the California League. And Todd decided that he was going to have one of his players balk in the winning run because he didn't want to go past the 18th inning. the league took exception to that and suspended him for the year from the California League because he was trying to protect his players. But when you think about the rationale behind it, there's certainly a good reason to try to protect those players late in minor league games. Birmingham going 21 innings last night. Steve may pitch for the Barons later on. No score after one. Carlos Rodon back to the mound, and he pumps the first pitch inside to Brandon Guyer, who gets the start against the left-handed Rodon. Guyer with the game winner yesterday. Back-to-back plunkings ended up being the decider in game 2 of this series. So 2 down in the 9th inning, in case you missed it. The Indians had 2 runners on. Then Yan Gomes was hit by a pitch, Gregory Infante, who then pitched Guyer inside, and Guyer wore the pitch for the game-winning RBI.
Carlos is going to try to wipe him out eventually with that slider in, but he's got to be very careful because anything inside, Guyer will lean into. That's how you lead the league in getting hit year after year.
It has been 3 straight seasons Brandon Guyer has led Major League Baseball in plunkings.
That has been part of his game, and in the loss to the Cubs, you see the 11 strikeouts in 4 innings. He had great stuff, he just couldn't command it.
Up high, ball 4 to Guyer. Second walk for Rodon today, bringing up Giovanni Urshela. 2017 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. Go to rate.com for a low rate and the best mortgage experience on the planet. We've seen more sewing on that bench and de-stitching of baseballs in this series than.
Well, that's because you like to reap, what they're doing.
What you sow?
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to say?
I think so.
Glad you holstered that weapon. Fly ball, right field. Garcia for out number 1. Urshela is out. And this must be the finished product.
That's just exceptional, and they'll be in gift shops all around. No, they won't either, but it is good looking.
They have 15 of those, we're told, that they've been building at the Cleveland Indian Craft Fair.
You like the beard?
I do. Wow.
Well, you have to have something to do.
Well, I know they've been having fun with a 9-game win streak, but boy, they are in stitches over there.
No, really? You went there after reaping what you sow, and you went there?
Look, anything you can do. There are rules to this game.
There are rules.
You can vote online for your best pun at whitesox.com/puns to click. Nobody's voting on those. Runners off. Throw on Geyer is not in time. It's a stolen base for 31-year-old Brandon Geyer. So a couple of firsts today on the base paths for Cleveland.
Cleveland now has stolen 56 bases, been caught just 18 times, and they pick up in all the video they have that Carlos Rodon, when he doesn't use a slide step, is fairly easy to run against, because Geyer doesn't have big speed, but he's able to beat the play.
And that is number 1 for Geyer after number 1 for Jackson. There's a bunt chopped foul by Perez, who's hitting only 180 for the year and on base below 300 at 273.
Well, with both of the Indians catchers, and we're talking about Yan Gomes and Perez, what they do is control a running game. They're both pretty good at digging pitches out of the dirt. They both call a good game, and they've got quick releases and strong arms, and that's one of the things that the Indians are looking for, because they've got a talented pitching staff. They got 2 good catchers to contain them.
Breaking ball inside, 2-1 on Perez. We were talking about Jonathan Lucroy yesterday and him not ending up with Cleveland. There are some rumors floating around, and we'll see if it ends up going official that Lucroy might be on his way to Colorado.
Well, he would be a rental player because he's going to be a free agent when this season's over. Colorado could use him. They're in the thick of things. Not going to win the division, but both Colorado and the Arizona Diamondbacks have a legitimate shot at being the wild card teams coming from the West.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Perez. And Rodon misses inside, so 3-2, and the pitch count all the way up to 32 for Carlos through an inning and a third so far. Three and two. On the ground to third. Saladino at the line across the way on target for out number 2. And around Major League Baseball, Adrian Beltre is inching ever so close to that 3,000th hit. And there is number 2999 for Beltre. It came against the Orioles last night. And a fan favorite certainly in Texas, Adrian Beltre.
Well, to real baseball fans, you have to enjoy the way Beltre plays because of his enjoyment, and it's written all over his face on a day-to-day basis.
That line that Clemente was at, 3,000.
Yep. Kevin Smith out to the mound. He'll talk with Carlos. Carlos will talk with Tim.
Is Tim going to relay the message to somebody in the outfield?
He's going to relay the message to Bill Welke and then talk to Brandon Geyer about it. And then we'll be back ready to play.
College basketball game this year when the opposing player tried to sneak into the home team's huddle.
I like that.
Yeah, it's good strategy. Recon. Ball and a strike on Bradley Zimmer, the 24-year-old former first-round pick out of the University of San Francisco.
Zimmer can do a lot of things well. We've seen spectacular catches in center field, and he's in the infancy stages of his career. But he's big, he's fast, and he's got some power. Carlos is looking at his finger. It could very well be that he's having a reoccurrence of some blister issues. So I'm sure Herm Schneider Going to take a close look at that between innings.
It's called ball 2. Looked like a strike.
Pretty good
Did not
pitch.
get the call.
No, did not get the call from Lance Barrett.
Geyer the walk and stolen base. He's at second. 2-1. It's outside. 3 balls and a strike from Carlos Rodon.
You've got Lindor in the on-deck circle, so the last thing you want to do is walk Zimmer to get to one of their most established run producers.
Gets a swing and a miss to push the count to 3-2. So Carlos with 3 full counts so far, the first time through the order. That's called strike 3. Zimmer takes a real good one, and Carlos Rodon extracts himself from the second inning. Still no score.
TV.com, presented by Nationwide's Jeff Vukovich. Go to jeffvuk.com or follow him on social media because Nationwide is on your side.
Told you about the Hall of Fame inductions. Tim Raines going in. John Schuerholz, the architect of those Braves teams, first general manager to win the World Series with teams in both leagues dating back to the Royals from 81 to 90.
What a terrific GM he was. Well deserving induction into the Hall of Fame. And he had one attribute that served him well. And a lot of people have a hard time with this, and that is he was a great listener. He would try to extract information from just about everyone he ran into, call some people at times to get their opinion on things. And John was terrific at that.
What was that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh. I thought he said something about being a listener. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No.
But that, some guys in that job want to just believe they have all the answers immediately, and that wasn't the case with him, is what you're saying.
No, and it also, he came out of an organization that before the Indians got to populate the front offices around baseball, the Baltimore Orioles had a lot of their graduates move on to other teams running them or assistant GMs. And John Schuerholz was one of those guys. So coming from that kind of background in an organization that for years was state of the art, you learn something, you take it other places, and John did it in Kansas City and Atlanta.
That is strikeout number 4 in a row to start the game for Josh Tomlin.
I'm not thinking he's done that too often. As we'll see it here, that fastball painting the outside corner. That's what Tomlin can do. He can look at Perez's glove and just literally place the ball there. He's been able to do that for quite some time. That's why he's still in the major leagues. And that's what makes him difficult to square up.
He's the longest tenured member of the Indians organization now in terms of a player. A 19th round pick out of Texas Tech. And if you think it's windy in Chicago, check out Lubbock at some point.
That's Cyclone Alley.
You get off the plane in Lubbock and you feel like you're going to be blown to Arizona.
Well, playing in Amarillo, you have that area in the Panhandle that sees some really nasty storms.
Josh Tomlin actually from the same town, White House, Texas, southeast of Tyler, that provided Texas Tech its quarterback the last couple of years. Patrick Mahomes II, the son of former Twins pitcher among others, Pat Mahomes, the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft this year to Kansas City. It's a ball in play. It goes to first. Santana for Tomlin, and 5 in a row retired by Tomlin to start the game. Tomlin and Mahomes have become friends and acquaintances, growing up in the same area, and rarely do you see a very small town like that provide two distinctly talented professional athletes so soon. In terms of years apart, about a decade apart between professional debuts for the two. There's strike one to Smith. A little popcorn on your Sunday afternoon.
Temperature at 79. You couldn't have a more delightful day.
You said it on Tomlin. You could put a little teeny tiny scrap of paper in that glove and he would hit it dead on if he wanted to. Or a kernel of popcorn, if you will.
But we talked about the Negro Leagues and some of the great players, and one of the names that a lot of people won't recognize, but baseball aficionados will, is Satchel Paige. Said to have such exceptional control that he could throw it over the tinfoil in a gum wrapper.
On the ground, Lindor at shortstop, showing the range and the arm all together to retire Smith. 6 up, 6 down for Tomlin. No score after 2 in the series finale. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Indians and White Sox game number 3 before Toronto comes into town for a 3-game series. 2 night games and a day game Monday through Wednesday. And the Sox will be off to Boston after that for a 4-game series at Fenway Park.
Boston has fallen out of first place. They came into action today, a half game and back of the Yankees. Yankees have made some definitive moves. Red Sox just kind of sitting there, hoping to get everybody healthy and get back in the fray.
Yankees acquired Jaime Garcia earlier today as Lindor lights up this ball to left field, and the Indians have taken the lead on a solo home run from their young shortstop.
Number 16 to left center field. He's now driven in 49. Terry Francona chose to lead him off today. This is a guy that, before it's over in the not too distant future, he's going to drive in 100 runs. That's a fastball, inner portion, and gone.
You know what's really interesting about that home run for Lindor? That's his 17th at bat against Carlos Rodon. And it's the first fly ball he's pulled against him, and all dramatically. There was one just to the left of center field. It's the first fly ball pull shot for Lindor in his career. Everything to the pull side had been on the ground prior to that, and everything in the air had been either center field or to right.
He just got a pitch middle in and put a good swing on it.
That ball scorched on the ground past Moncada. And Austin Jackson is 2 for 2 in the game, and now 5 out of 10 in the series. We told you the other day about how Cleveland restocked itself with trades, and here is the Indians' rebuild in terms of draft. 2008, Lonnie Chisenhall, Kipnis in 2009, the guys you're talking about coming back from injury. Then Lindor in 11 and Zimmer in 2014, all good choices.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's one thing to have that high draft pick in the first round. It's another thing to make it count. And you can never really tell. You don't know how a guy is going to progress. Doesn't matter how talented he is. But that young man was highly touted as he was coming up through the system. A lot of people talking about Lindor well before he got to the major leagues. And he is quite a player.
What do you think his best attribute is?
Well, there's a number of things. One of the things I like with him is that young shortstops especially have a tendency to try to be flashy with everything. And there's going to be times to make a flashy play. But more times than not, you make the routine play look routine. You make sure on a double play or anything else, if it's a routine play, you make it. He's capable of making flashy plays. He just doesn't show it on a daily basis. That part of what he does is good, and the fact that he's got power from both sides of the plate is excellent.
You'd be hard pressed, I think at least. You might just say Correa out of hand, but you'd be hard pressed to pick your favorite young shortstop in the American League.
I wouldn't say Correa out of hand, only because Lindor has the advantage of being a switch hitter.
Ball's tagged to center field. Engel is there. And out number 1. Ramirez is out. Head to the park for $1 hot dogs every Wednesday home game through the rest of the season. This unbeatable deal starts August 2nd. The Sox take on the Blue Jays. So get your tickets today. Purchase tickets at whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME. $1 dogs every Wednesday home game the rest of the season.
And they're Vienna beef hot dogs, which is about as good as it gets. Come on down, you'll love them. Have one of those games where you maybe eat 8, 10, 12 hot dogs. Doesn't cost you much, except maybe 3 or 4 days in the house.
Well, it costs the people in the house with you some.
Well, it depends. But Wednesdays are going to be exciting.
We should have you MC a hot dog eating contest one of those Wednesdays. I'm just planting the seed.
Oh, you want Joey Chestnut to come in?
Sure. Or we could just have a bunch of Sox fans, and then you could do the play-by-play, and I'll do the analysis.
I would like to see you do the eating.
I'd do it.
I know. So the
I
meeting at the
know.
mound broken up. You would do it.
I've actually done a very small-scale hot dog eating contest before. It's fun while you're in it.
The cocktail wieners? Is that?
No, the contest was small, not the food.
Oh, okay.
See, the way it works is the train moves, not the station. On the ground, left side, Saladino whirling to second to start a beauty. 5-4 to 3, and a break dance from Tyler to trigger it.
And it's a gem. Tyler Saladino to his left. One thing to get it, another thing to do a 360 spin and get it to Moncada, who quickly gets it across for a 5-4-3 spectacular double play. When you think garages, think Danley's. 773 garages.
We encourage you to think garages. Strike one to Anderson. You were saying earlier, by the way, about Satchel Paige. You never got a chance to finish that story because we went away with out number 3.
Well, he did have great control, and as you informed me, I thought he was 60, but he threw his last pitch in the major leagues at the age of 58. But when they asked him if he could throw the ball over the gum wrapper, he said right side or left side. But that is the kind of control that he had, and he threw very hard.
Can you imagine age 58 still out there chunking it?
Well, I imagine you could do that, but I'm not sure about pitching.
1-2. Fouled away. That's the best part about baseball and baseball announcing is you just say the count and the whole conversation goes away. It's like an eraser. Didn't you lose a hit because of pine tar?
I did. I could have hit, I guess, 102 lifetime instead of just 100 against Rootin' Tootin' Bird Hootin'. Took away a base hit. It was a tragedy.
Minor tragedy.
Just minor.
Trivial tragedy. 2 balls and 2 strikes for Anderson from the 19th round pick, Josh Tomlin. Lindor against his counterpart. Long throw, high throw, inaccurate throw. Anderson safe.
Going to be E6 as Lindor took a long time. He's got a strong arm. but sometimes you hold on to it a little too long. Lindor charged with his eighth error of the year. He's got it here. He takes all kinds of time. Problem being that if you don't make a pinpoint throw and your first baseman has to jump in the air, he is safe at first.
And now Bill Welke is going to go talk to the Indians dugout for a brief moment.
Wants him to take a look. I'm not sure.
Go ahead, use your challenge.
As they reviewed it, I'm not sure whoever was reviewing for the Indians, if he saw it all that clearly, because he was safe and looked like he was safe fairly easily.
This is a how-to, we believe, on how to lose your challenge.
Yeah.
It'll be fine for the Sox. You have 30 seconds to decide whether or not to review the play, and unless there's a third foot there for Santana that we can't see, that's easy.
You would think so. We have seen stranger things, but you see clearly as we slowed it down right there, his foot was not on the bag as Tim flashed across the bag. And so, again, not the greatest use of a challenge we've seen. So the call is confirmed, and it does go E6.
Here's the thing, in football, sometimes you hear coaches say, well, you might as well challenge it because it was close and it's worth it, right? It's worth it. Well, football is a much faster game. People are running toward the line and trying to snap the ball. It is an absolute hair-trigger decision. In baseball, it has certainly gone away from that because there are people, as you said, there are people in a video room for each team watching the play in slow motion. In 30 seconds, you have at least, I would say, 4 or 5 chances to look at that frame that you're deciding on before you have to make the phone call.
Yeah, so that's, again, that one defied reason, but so now Tito is fresh out of challenges.
But so the folks at home know, every team has somebody reviewing the plays that we're watching too to make those decisions.
And in New York, they have a couple of camera angles that we don't have.
Lindor at shortstop to second, and Ramirez in a turn wipes away Anderson anyway for out number 2 in the inning.
Chicagoland viewers, text Subway to 97999 right now, and the 300th texter is going to win a $30 gift card to a Subway restaurant in the Chicagoland area. Subway, so much sandwich. I could use one of those meatball subs right now.
Those are good. Those are my favorite.
Those are really good.
You a Lightning McQueen fan?
Oh, absolutely. Every McQueen, starting with Steve.
Who else?
Mr. McLean.
Top 5 McQueens coming up in the 21st inning.
Well, good experience for those youngsters at Double-A to go that long in a game.
How so?
See just how arduous it is. Well, it'll make them really bear down in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning from now on.
There's a 33-inning game in AAA one year between Rochester and Pawtucket. Cal Ripken Jr. was involved in that game, among others that you would recognize. Center field for Engel, and Tomlin has faced the minimum through 3. It's 1-0 Cleveland after 3 innings on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Time machine work. We're back in 2017 in our regular clothing today. What do we have on the prize shelf? Looks like Rock's still here.
We've got the Tim Raines, which is a wonderful bobblehead, showing him both with Montreal and our Sox. And we have a baseball that is of indeterminate nature. We've got lots of things. The gnome guarding everything, as well as, well, the Rubik's Cube or the Sox Cube.
Game of Thrones Southpaw as well.
Very nice.
A hot item for those of you who are Lannisters or otherwise. Ball and a strike on Santana. Carlos Rodon has allowed 3 hits so far, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 54 pitches. Start number 6. Left-hander out of North Carolina State. Elliott Avent's Wolfpack.
And that was nice because it was a straight change that he threw in the zone, something that he's had some difficulty with. But if you get that pitch down to go with his wipeout slider and the get-me-over slider, now suddenly you're building a very strong repertoire to throw at hitters each and every time out.
Strikeout of Santana starts the 4th. And here's your Sox math question for today. Hashtag Sox math. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf. Take the number of home runs Jose Abreu's hit in the first 4 games of this homestand. Multiply the number of innings the Birmingham Barons played last night.
Well, that's not fair because you've mentioned it 22 times in the early going.
22, you think?
Yeah, maybe 21, but.
Is there a hint there?
No.
Well, certainly, it doesn't always have to be something you have to go digging for. That's why you watch the first couple of innings, just in case there's a Sox math Easter egg. And also,
the clue?
Yeah. Ball and a strike on Brandon Guyer, who walked and stole second in the 2nd inning.
Outfield playing him a couple of steps to the right of center. Big gap in left center. Now Carlos is starting to get his rhythm. He's working quickly, which is good. He's just getting it and throwing it, and right now he's starting to throw it in the zone a lot.
Up high, 2-2. The way he started this game, it was 3 pitches to a strikeout of Lindor, and it looked like he might be in the left lane for most of the afternoon, but Cleveland has been very patient.
They are one of those teams that will look at a lot of pitches, and
like that one.
Yeah, I think that Brendan Guyer probably not all that enamored of taking a fastball for strike 3. So we'll take a look at a fastball outside part of the plate. Perfect pitch.
Carlos Rodon, this is the average velocity fastball as opposed to his off-speed stuff. The slider is above the changeup on the bottom of that, and what we're showing you there is the difference has grown. His fastball velocity has increased, and the off-speed stuff has decreased in velocity, so the difference between the two has grown.
There you see, and there was an 8-mile-an-hour difference initially. Now he's gotten to the point where he's at 10, and ideally, between the fastball and the changeup, pitchers will tell you they want 10, 11 miles an hour difference. You want it a fast enough changeup so a guy can't move his hands, then reload and move them again. And so certainly it's fast enough to do that. And you want to make sure that once you fool him, he's fooled. He can't come back and get a base hit out of it. So that's why the 10, 11 miles an hour for most pitchers. Every pitcher is different, however, and some guys have a couple different straight changes.
Not that he was completely fooled last night, but I'm reminded of the swing from Austin Jackson on his base hit, the double actually in the 3rd inning from last night, where he altered his swing mid-path to get to the ball. His angle is there to retire the side, and we'll continue the conversation in the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Cleveland with the lead.
WGNTV.com and click on the Game Zone for the latest stats and information. Dodd Camera, family owned and serving Chicagoland for over 125 years. Dodd Camera, where the focus is on you.
It'll be Leury Garcia, Tyler Saladino, and Jose Abreu to try to decipher Josh Tomlin's stuff. He has 3-inning no-hitters so far. And Leury at the top of the lineup card because of the trade of Melky Cabrera to the Royals about an hour before game time officially announced. And Jeff Chanel and the scoreboard crew, the White Sox video team, Matt Dahl and JV and everybody that's involved with that, they are going to have their hands full yet again, because the thank you or welcome back video hopper has started to move again, because Kansas City is going to be in this ballpark in just a couple of weeks here in August. So welcome back Melky is going to very likely happen, just like welcome back Q happened, what, a week and a half after he was traded?
And the Yankees don't come here again, so we can't welcome all of them back.
That's true. We'll have to send individual videos on DVD to Frazier and Canely and Robertson. On the ground, Tomlin stabs it and throws a bullet to first for out number 1. Here is your Sox math answer. 3 home runs for Abreu, 21 innings for Birmingham. 63 is the answer. C square 12 is your winner. I believe Jordan Lazowski was second. We should now start publicly shaming the silver medalists. Don't you think? You're so close.
So
close to winning.
Only a little quicker. You'd have gotten there. In the meantime, Salazar, who threw the first game of this series for the Indians, had a no-hitter with 1 out in the 5th inning. Tomlin has a no-hitter with 1 out in the 4th inning.
Tyler Saladino, who made a great defensive play in the top of the 3rd to start a 5-4-3 double play. Struck out in the 1st. He's 0 for 1.
And how often do you see that a guy that makes a miraculous defensive play breaks up the no-hitter in the 4th inning?
Could be either 0 or once today. We'll find out. 1-1. Fades inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Tyler tried to take that one off the lead shoulder, but spun away and it missed him.
Popped it up 3rd base side, foul ground. Urshela is over along with the catcher Perez, and they duel for it. And it's Perez to make the catch for out number 2.
Easier play for the 3rd baseman, but Perez calling for it, as is Urshela. And Perez got the rebound.
In the basketball box score, they refer to that sometimes as a team rebound.
Looked like it might have been, but better communication probably would be advisable.
All other things equal, whose ball is that?
3rd baseman, easier play for him if he can get there, depending on where he sets up. But if he can get there, you encourage them to take it. Simple reason that catchers normally are drifting with it, and many times have their back to the stands, whereas the guys at the corners come in and they're facing the ball as it's spinning back toward them. Much easier play for the corner guys.
Ball and a strike on Abreu. This has been, for the most part today, a smaller strike zone, but that pitch number 1 was definitely out of the zone and called a strike. 1-2 on Jose.
Today is Josh Tomlin's 6th start at Guaranteed Rate Field. In his previous 5, 3-1 with a 3.13 ERA, and the White Sox are hitting .213 against him in this ballpark. He struck out 26 with only 4 walks, and you look at those numbers, they're pretty special. Home Field Facts brought to you by Ryan Kelly, thehomeloanexpert.com.
And Abreu gets hit.
Again, he gets hit a lot. And that one hurt him.
We wouldn't believe that's intentional in any way.
No, it is absolutely not. He tried to get it in, got it too far in, and instead of the thigh, it looks like he caught him off the lead elbow.
11th hit by pitch for Jose Abreu this year. In related news, John Lackey's scheduled to start today for the Cubs.
And he's doing pretty well so far. 0-0 game into the top of the 5th in Milwaukee.
He does have a hit batter, I'm told. There's a strike to Davidson, who struck out in the 2nd inning.
Tomlin will get the first pitch over consistently. Almost 70% of the time will he throw a first pitch strike. So you go up there trying to take the first pitch, you're usually in a hole.
There's a story about Mike Moustakas just this morning, and he's got that 30 home run mark that he's hit with the Royals already this year, and how he was told essentially first couple of years on his way up through the Royals system and into the majors, take the first pitch, and his feeling was that he was letting good pitches go by. Dale Swaim has opened him up a little bit more to swinging at the first pitch.
Sometimes it's the best pitch you're going to get in the sequence, and when you have a breakdown of the numbers and realize that whoever is your opponent on the mound for the other team, if he's throwing 70% strikes on the first pitch, you're doing yourself a disservice by just automatically taking every first pitch.
Ball and 2 strikes on Davidson. And there is strike 3. Tomlin with his 5th strikeout. So he's no longer faced the minimum, but the no-hitter intact after 4.
Performance in action.
Told you about Tim Raines going into the Hall of Fame. Jeff Bagwell is also in Cooperstown. Just finished his speech. 2,314 hits, 449 home runs, and maybe the saddest folks about that are Boston Red Sox fans, considering the Larry Anderson trade.
Well, that was, again, that was one of those good piece of today for a whole lot of tomorrow. And Bagwell at that point was, I believe, the highest he'd ever gotten was AA by the time he was traded over. It worked out pretty well for him. The Red Sox needed a guy out of their bullpen who could pitch all the time. Larry Anderson was that guy.
There's a story in, I believe it was the Globe today, about Bagwell still to this day being the one that got away for the Boston Red Sox.
He's one of the ones, and again, if you don't make a mistake, and now Rick is talking with Lance Barrett. Lance Barrett was yelling at him. He doesn't want any more. And so, after a bit of a testy exchange, we're back to baseball.
Yeah. League-wide meditation class would be a good idea. The fuses are short.
And we haven't even gotten to the dog days of August yet. And by the way, with the weather like this, it's hard to consider that they would be the dog days of August, but that's what they're called.
This is also, the jawing there is also the reason that umpiring crews don't stay for much longer than one series typically, because at some point you just get tired of each other. Everybody gets sick of each other.
Well, imagine what it was like when you had American and National League umps, where you were getting, you might have, I mean, from a standpoint of pitching, you might have a guy behind the plate 6 to 8 times a year, and you got to know him very well, and he got to know you very well. And maybe that rapport that was built up made the fuses a little longer way back when, but it seems to me, and look, umpires have a very tough job, we know that, and umpiring behind the plate is the toughest of all the 4 places that they will umpire. But you used to have a little more rope to go out and have a conversation where you're not saying, you know, that was a strike, you blew it, et cetera, but you had a conversation about where the strike zone might be, where it was earlier, where it is now.
There's strike 3 on Perez, 5th strikeout for Rodon. I'm not even laying blame. It's just that it seems like everybody's been a little testier.
And that's, you know, that's the case. He throws a fastball by him right down the middle, but a little too much on it for Perez.
To your point, though, that's why there are certain general managers who like to trade with each other. The small town bar feel, kind of, right? You know, the small town bar, you know that you're going to run into somebody again, and if you're going to fleece them on one deal, then they're probably not going to trade with you in the future. And I think there is really something to your point that you see guys maybe once or twice a year, and there's no reason or less of a reason to unload on them than if you were going to see them 6 to 8 times for the year.
Yeah, I just think a little more communication or a little lengthier time for a conversation might diffuse a lot of the problems. We saw a lot of problems go away with the video challenges and whatever, because used to be guys would argue that play. Now they just point and they look at it in New York. So those battles have gone away.
You think there's something to more arguments over balls and strikes because managers just don't argue field plays anymore? You got to get your licks in somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
You don't?
I think no, I don't think that's an issue.
Carlos Rodon, 4 strikeouts, last 5 batters, 2 out in the 5th.
We told you about the 3rd. Carlos was starting to get that good feel again. This is more the Rodon we saw certainly at the end of last year that we've seen flashes of in the past. His stuff is so good that he's going to be a top of the rotation starter. It's just a question of him getting the feel for it. And when you have a start of the season postponed by close to 3 months, it's going to be tough to get that feeling.
Strike 1 to Francisco Lindor, who's got the only run producing play in this game so far, a home run to left field in the 3rd. And boy, Carlos is really cruising now.
Yeah, he's just getting it and throwing it, but he is changing speeds. And when he does that, he's tough to deal with. He's at the 80 pitch mark, but after the home run and the single to start the 3rd inning and a hard hit ball by Ramirez, he's thrown it very well.
Lindor just tried to break the rhythm by getting out of the batter's box, and that's not going to work. Rodon retires him. That's 8 in a row for Carlos. This is the single by Jackson in the third. Still 1-0.
Official White Sox debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC. And they're meeting at the mound, and anytime the trainer comes out with the manager to talk with the pitcher, it's not a good thing. So they want to see if he can stay in the ball game. And usually the conversations go, look, it's a long year still. We need you healthy. And because of that, Tomlin's going to leave the game, and he's going to leave the game with his no-hitter intact. So as he walks out, and we're going to spend a lot of time with warm-up pitches after the injury. We'll step out, be back after these messages. Placed on the disabled list retroactive to July 22nd with a hamstring issue. This year, a good year for Starlin, hitting .307, 12 and 45 on the power numbers. The injury report is brought to you by Dr. Anthony Romeo, proud member of Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. Go to RomeoOrthopedics.com or call 312-432-2342. And there is a look at Nick Goody, who we've seen in this series, on for the 38th time. He's 1-1 with a splendid 2.15 ERA. Opponent's batting average of 206 is also great, as is 1.17 WHIP. So he'll be given as much time as he needs to loosen up, and he started taking some warm-up pitches on the grass in front of home plate because he was just sitting around. When the starting pitcher's got a no-hitter through 4, you don't anticipate you're going to be in there before a pitch thrown in the 5th, but that was the case, and if we get an update on Josh Tomlin, we will let you know.
This being Hall of Fame weekend and induction day, we've been going through the Hall of Famers that are new to the wing. And Bud Selig goes in, the former commissioner from '98 to 2015. Started his time in baseball as the president of the Brewers beginning in 1970.
Bud was able to do something that was pretty interesting. He was in charge of the selection committee when they were looking for a new commissioner. And after exhaustive conferences and interviews and a number of other things, Bud decided that the best man for the job was none other than Bud. And he did a great job. Remember talking with Bud early in his tenure and talking to him about the fact that he's going to go down as one of the great commissioners of baseball in baseball history. I thought he would be second to Kennesaw Mountain Landis because of Landis trying to get the integrity of the game back after the Black Sox scandal in 1919. But overall, I felt that Bud Selig probably did a better job than Mountain Landis with the whole body of work and the economics of the game. So the last 2 warm-up pitches we saw from Josh Tomlin might have given you some indication that he just wasn't feeling right. That was one looked like might have been a leg issue. He came up a little short after delivering that. Yeah, he's kind of hopping around. It looks to me like the legs aren't 100%. But again, we have to wait and see exactly what they announce, if anything, to this point. And with a no-hitter, Tomlin had to leave.
So Nick Goody comes in to face Yoan Moncada, who doubled against him. He barreled up a ball to right field 2 nights ago as the Sox scored late in that game against Cleveland with 2 runs in the 7th and 1 in the 8th.
Goody pitched an inning in the series, gave up an unearned run and a couple of hits.
Snaps in a strike to Yoan Moncada, who's 4 out of 35 in his Sox tenure so far. 2 sterling defensive plays last night on back-to-back plays at second base. Goody, who has the 12th lowest relief ERA in the American League, over from the Yankees in December, facing the 5, 6, and 7 hitters in this 5th inning. Fastball for strike 3, and Goody begins just like Tomlin did, with a strikeout. On behalf of Major League Baseball, we salute all of Cooperstown, New York on its Hall of Fame weekend and offer congratulations to this year's award winners and the 2017 National Baseball Hall of Fame inductees and their families. Just a special place to go. And I know it's just a mob scene over the course of this week and induction weekend, but if you go in the off season, and I did right before last season began, just to go walk around and see the sights and take in baseball history.
It's a beautiful, beautiful little community.
Yeah, it is.
And charming. And of course, the museum is certainly worth the price of admission and then some.
If you go and you just walk into a pizza parlor or candy shop or whatever it might be, you're very likely to get pulled into some baseball conversation you don't expect. The guy, I walked into a pizza shop, and the guy who runs the store, big Cincinnati Reds fan, we got into a discussion about Pete Rose over a slice of pizza for 20 minutes. I mean, there's just baseball through and through in that little hamlet up in New York.
It is a beautiful place, and they used to play a game there every year. And one year, I had a chance to broadcast the game there. It's a little ballpark. It's kind of charming in a way, but
It's like 280 to left field.
Yeah, I was going to say, for pitchers, it's not quite that charming because every ball hit goes out of the park. And they didn't lay it out with the broadcast in mind exactly, nor with the hitters in mind.
You did the game from behind home plate, didn't you?
Yes, did the game behind home plate. The sun was in our faces. The hitter, because the sun was also in his face, he couldn't see very well, and we looked like we fell face first into a deep fryer when that game was over.
Consider the lobster.
Oh, it was, yeah, it was, wasn't pleasant, but it was a charming game.
There is strike 3. And 2 down for Goody. When I was in AAA, the first year that I was doing the Syracuse games, the Chiefs played Pawtucket, the AAA Red Sox. It was the same thing. Did the game from right behind home plate. The net's up there, but you don't realize how difficult it is to do a game from ground level until you sit down to do it.
Ground level with the sun in your face.
Yeah.
And and usually in the Hall of Fame induction, it's end of July, and it is awfully warm.
There's a strike to Tim Anderson. You know what we should do? We should.
Yes, you
petition.
should. I have a feeling I know where this is going, and I think you should do that.
We should petition for both of us to each year go do a game in Cooperstown, get a couple teams together, and wear those costumes from last night from 1917.
Well, what I will do then is
Quit.
use this particular challenge to say, I won't take the next year. You go again, year after year. You go and do that. That's nice.
Just me.
Oh yeah.
Solo.
Oh yeah.
Like in the old days.
Yes.
You can recreate it from the studio using wood blocks.
There you go. I like
pieces
that
of
idea.
tin foil. Carlos Rodon trying to stay cool in the interim. 5 innings so far for Carlos. 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, just a 1 run on the Francisco Lindor home run. Up and in, 2-2 on Anderson. It was the first Sox batter to reach today, back in the 3rd on the error by Lindor.
Looked like Goody might have caught his spikes as he delivered that ball, and it was way up and out of the zone. Indians have the #1 pitching staff by ERA in the American League. 3.69. The Red Sox 3.71 in second place.
And they will face off very soon upon Cleveland's departure from here.
The Indians still have a home and home with the Red Sox, a home and home with the Yankees, still play Kansas City, I do believe, for 2 series. So they've got a really tough August, and they know that once they leave Chicago, things will get awfully tough until September.
3-2. Called strike 3 against Anderson on a ball that was outside. Goody strikes out the side. Rodon back to the hill after this in a 1-0 score. 1-0 your score. Cleveland with the lead, and on that strikeout from Tim Anderson, somebody's been ejected from the White Sox dugout. Here's the sequence. Tim Anderson takes what really was a ball outside, according to our pitch cast. And Anderson's reaction, and then there's the ejection from Lance Barrett, as that ball is hit in the air to right field. And Rick Renteria came out to say what's going on. He was warned earlier.
Well, it wasn't Rick, though, because he's still sitting down there in the dugout.
Right.
So we'll have to check and see who did get the heave-ho.
Meantime, Jackson, a fly ball to right for out number 1, and Tim Anderson's still there. So we'll find out who has been run from the game as that ball's toward the left field corner, and a fair ball on one hop over the wall. That's a double for Ramirez.
This one hugging the line all the way. Ramirez caught it off the end of the bat. And this one did not hook. Stayed right on the line. Just barely fair, but fair it was.
One on, one out for Encarnacion, as we're scanning the dugout to try to figure out who's been ejected. May have been Todd Steverson, the Sox hitting coach, but nothing definitive as yet. Rodon feeds over a strike, 0-2. That, whoever it was the 12th ejection since May the 7th for the White Sox. Ramirez at second, one out. And Rodon to Encarnacion. A flare first base side and foul.
He broke his bat on that, so he'll need another.
Here's a look at the sequence. Ricky Renteria was already on the field. Todd Steverson barking at the plate umpire, Lance Barrett. And all evidence points to it being Steverson who was ejected from the game, which would make the whole staff, having been ejected in terms of manager, pitching coach, hitting coach for the season. Runners off, swing and a miss for strike 3. Throw to third is not in time. Stolen base for Ramirez. 2 down.
That's 3 of them today for the Tribe. As soon as Carlos did not look back a second time, Ramirez was off to the races, and not a real good chance to get him. This is heads up base running, and he's in ahead of the tag.
We do have confirmation. It is officially Todd Steverson who is ejected, and I want to ask you a serious question here. Serious question, not snarky, not saying umpires shouldn't eject people. I really want your opinion on what the goal of an ejection is. What do you think the main goal of ejecting somebody from the game is?
I'm not sure exactly if it's a goal. It's just, in the case of either a pitching coach, a manager, or hitting coach, you can't argue balls and strikes. And so I think when you do, because if you can't do it, you're breaking a rule.
Yeah, but people do, and they don't get ejected.
That's true. It's umpire preference.
I mean, is it to stop players from doing something in the future? Is it to stop other players from doing something? Is it just sheer punishment? I mean, that's what we have to decide, because seems like there's a lot of it going on.
True, but I'm not sure that you can actually look at it and figure out why he's throwing somebody out, except that that's one of the tools the umpires have.
Ground ball to third. Saladino has been very good there today, and he does it again, stranding Ramirez at third. 5.5 deep, 1-0. The Sox trail. Still a no-hitter on the board for Cleveland. That was just for all the people who believe we actually control no-hitters, so now it should get broken up immediately, right?
Well, certainly sometime this inning you would expect.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Although the thought of Goody tiring in just his second inning of work probably isn't in the equation. And he did strike out the side last inning.
Willie Garcia's first up. There's strike one from Goody. Eight strikeouts, no walks from Indians pitchers. Tomlin left injured when throwing his warm-up tosses in the bottom of the fifth. So Goody came in for him, trying to preserve the no-hitter. And Willie did go 0-2.
Clint Fagan on the appeal.
One ball and two strikes on Garcia.
Outfield and infield playing Willie straight away.
I do want to revisit what we were talking about before the break, though, because if the goal of ejections is to increase civility, right? Decrease yelling, screaming at umpires because they're in the position of power. If the goal is civility, it should be the goal of the umpire in handling those interpersonal situations to be civil as well. A swing and a miss for strike three and one down. If the goal is simply to punish, then yeah, sometimes you got to get rid of somebody who is being disagreeable in a very volatile way. But if it's just to deter people from doing volatile things, then the umpires should equally act like that, wouldn't you say, and try to diffuse situations.
Well, I think that should be part of the equation. And sometimes, in the case of Lance Barrett earlier, now he had talked with Ricky about it and told him that he had heard enough about that particular scenario a couple innings before, but it wasn't Ricky who was thrown out. It was Todd. And so I think we talked about it earlier in the fact that there seemed to be more interaction between umpires and players and a little bit longer rope in years past than there is now.
And I am not picking on this umpire crew specifically in any way. I'm just saying that maybe there is a top-down approach you could have that speaks more to diffusing situations rather than inflaming them, like we saw. And again, the cornerstone of this discussion, I think, is the Bill Welke approaching the mound with Derek Holland a couple of days ago. Just kind of let it roll off, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, that is easier to say up here than down there.
Sure.
Because the heat of the moment on both the umpires and the players.
Again, that's not to say you're a bad person when you react to energy with energy, but the goal would be to rise above it.
Sometimes easier said than done, but a nice philosophy.
All times easier said than done. All times, and that's what makes this such a tough job to umpire.
It's certainly one of the factors.
2-2 on Adam Engel. Two balls and two strikes from Goody to Engel. That is strike three to Adam Engel, 10th strikeout for Indians pitchers.
5 strikeouts in a row for Nick Goody. It's 6 strikeouts in a row overall, and that time, good moving fastball that had a good portion of the plate.
So it's up to Leury Garcia just off the disabled list to try to pick up that first hit as the Indians attempt to piecemeal a no-hitter together with Tomlin out after 4 due to injury. Join us for Star Wars Night, Saturday, August 26th. The Sox take on the Tigers, 6:10 p.m. for his 15,000. Take home a White Sox Stormtrooper bobblehead. Stick around for a post-game fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. Purchase tickets today, whitesox.com, or call 866-SOX-GAME. Two base runners so far this afternoon. Anderson on the error by Lindor in the 3rd. Abreu on the hit by pitch in the 4th.
The pen is up and going. It's Dan Otero. A bullpen that's been pretty good top to bottom this year. They did lose Boone Logan, which was another left-handed arm to take some of the pressure off Andrew Miller. Could very well be looking for another Pensman. But not a whole lot of news on the trade front out of Cleveland these days.
Deadline coming up tomorrow afternoon. Garcia in the air, foul ground, and out of play. You would figure the Sox are close to done in terms of trades. You see Jake Petrichka starting to get loose.
Well, what Rick Hahn has said from the beginning is the open for business sign is there for that. And he's been taking a lot of phone calls and moving a lot of players.
Mentioned earlier, Melky Cabrera being traded for a couple of young pitchers from the Royals organization And half the salary as well will go to Kansas City. The Sox will pay half the contract as well.
And that's really, when you get down to a trade like that, it becomes a question of how much of the money you're going to take, which is then translated into here's the quality of the prospects you're getting back. So when you take half the money, at least one of the prospects is probably going to be pretty good, and that A.J. Puckett, who was their #1 draft pick last year, probably fills that bill, because he's a big, hard-throwing right-hander.
Out of Pepperdine, lovely Malibu.
And they got a lefty to go with him. So 2 young pitchers coming to the organization, and Melky will find himself in a pennant race.
It is a climb on the rebuild, but the Sox are doing everything they can to put themselves in the best position possible. A.J. Puckett, by the way, former football player at De La Salle in California. That ball's hit well to right field. Geyer is back at the warning track, and it's gone! No-hitter and shutout, and lead all disappear in one swing from Leury Garcia.
Seven and 23 on the power numbers, and Terry Francona is going to come out and make sure that Nick Goody cannot throw another pitch. This looked like an off-speed pitch. It stayed up, and Leury took it out. So his first major league hit was a home run. That was first day back off the disabled list. A home run. So Goody departs. So will we. We'll be back.
Monday, August 21st, Twisted Shout to your favorite Beatles songs. The Sox take on the Minnesota Twins. Purchase this ticket package to get a game ticket and commemorative Beatles White Sox hat. Visit whitesox.com/Beatles to get yours today. Tyler Saladino, first pitch hunting on a ground ball to shortstop, and that will retire the side. But the Sox have changed the look of this game. Leury Garcia goes deep off of Goody, and it's 1-1 after 6. closer to the game. Fans 13 and under can join the White Sox Kids Club and get free Sox tickets, new gear, access to exclusive events, and even skip the line during Kids Run the Bases on Family Sundays. Head to whitesox.com/Kids Club today to join. And now Rick Renteria and Herm Schneider are going out to talk to look at Carlos Rodon. You mentioned a possible blister earlier.
To me, I thought he had a blister. I thought he was taking a look at it. And the bullpen is up and going. So Rick Renteria, Don Cooper prepared for this.
We do have an update on Josh Tomlin, by the way, who also left with injury. Left hamstring tightness for the starter for Cleveland today. He was knocked out after 4.
We told you at the time, because the last 2 pitches he delivered, he seemed to have pulled up a little short. It looked like it might have been a leg issue, and this is either a cut or a blister problem. In either event, you really should go to the bullpen. You got a specialist hitting left-handers and Geyer leading off the inning. And Don Cooper is trying to explain to him that if you feel good enough, we'll stay with you. It's not because they're doing anything with him, because after the 3rd inning, the first 2 guys reaching base, Rodon has been just terrific. So Petrichka and Bummer loosening in the pen. Carlos doesn't even want any extra pitches to loosen up. He's there already.
Brandon Geyer, who's yet to put a ball in play today, a walk and a strikeout. Geyer, for his career, as we've talked about, against left-handers, has a slugging percentage of more than 110 points better against lefties than righties.
That's the reason he's still in the major leagues. His ability to get on base and torch the left-hand pitchers.
.96 pitches for Carlos Rodon.
And the last one at 96 miles an hour.
And that one at 96 as well. Geyer couldn't catch up. Strikeout number 8 for Carlos Rodon.
He just reaches back, throws a fastball by him. And early it looked like Carlos was going to have the same kind of difficulty with his release point and command, but that hasn't been the case later in this game. He has thrown every bit like the man who was drafted with the 3rd pick in the country out of North Carolina State.
Did not get the call on a ball that had the plate on the first pitch, so 1-1 to Urshela, and he's right around the pitch count. Rodon is where we've seen him exit so far this year. His max is 102. His minimum pitch is 94.
He's going to get stronger and stronger as he moves along, and he's awfully strong now. It's just a question of getting his arm back in good enough shape after this protracted stint on the DL to be able to take the game into the 115 or 120 pitches. They're not going to ask him to do that all that often, but he should be ready to do it. You can see the first inning, some problems with a base hit and a walk, although no runs scored. And other than that, he's been pretty economical all the way through.
Foul ground right field side and out of play. Hall of Fame weekend. We told you about Tim Raines, Jeff Bagwell, Ivan Rodriguez, one of the best catchers of all time. And there are no defensive numbers there, but that's where he made his mark on so many stats.
2,844 hits for a guy that spent the overwhelming majority of his career in Texas.
Ball gets into center field for Urshela. It's a 1-out single. Hit number 5 for Cleveland.
And we talk about specifically in Texas because it's so hot and so humid most of the time during the summertime that if you're catching every day, and Pudge Rodriguez wanted to catch every day, to have those kind of offensive numbers and stay strong enough over the long haul is just miraculous.
Here's the Indians catcher, Roberto Perez. We talk about state-of-the-art catchers from the 90s. Ivan Rodriguez, Sandy Alomar is over in the first base coaching box for Cleveland as well. Charles Johnson, who spent some time with the Sox.
Sandy was a good one. Charles Johnson was a good one.
You can tell Carlos is feeling good right now at the pace.
Yeah, he's gotten the ball today, and he's thrown it. Taking very little time between pitches, and that's how you build a rhythm, and Carlos has got a good one.
0-2 on Perez. Very close.
Now the velocity of the fastball has climbed seemingly with every inning. So you know he's feeling very good.
Ball and 2 strikes on Perez. Solo home run each way, the only scoring in the game. That is a beauty for strike 3. Rodon absolutely freezes Perez. Strikeout number 9.
There's a slider, and it's a perfect slider. Carlos is giving you just a brief glimpse into the future and what he is going to become. He's very good now. He's going to become a top the rotation starter for seemingly a long time.
Already in just his 3rd season, he has a grand total of 7 games with 10 or more strikeouts, and he is 1 strikeout away right now from that.
If he keeps on throwing high fastballs to Zimmer, he will have his 10th, because the young man cannot catch up to the fastball just above the letters.
Oh, and 2, setting up maybe another fastball.
I think I throw at least 2 of them. He might not get past that first one.
Rodon entering the game today, 338 career strikeouts, most by a Sox pitcher in his first 59 games, and he's added to that with 9 this afternoon. No balls, 2 strikes. And Zimmer strokes it into left field on 2 strikes. Urshela breakneck into 3rd, and runners at the corners with 2 down for Lindor.
Urshela stumbled around second base, and for a moment it looked like he wasn't going to be able to make it, but he got his balance and coasted into 3rd. This pitch is down. It's a mistake. And because it's thigh high, turns into a base hit, putting runners at the corners. And we'll take a look at Urshela and watch what happens around the bag. He stumbles, able to right the ship in time to make it to 3rd rather easily. So for Carlos, a terrific outing here this afternoon. He was brilliant. We'll step out as he does and be back. what a performance he had this afternoon. We'll take a look at just 3 of the strikeouts, 3 of the 9. He only had a couple of walks, and the last one was in the 2nd inning. So he got his control, he got his rhythm. He just got it, through it, and overwhelmingly, they were very good pitches as he gives way to Jake Petrichka on for the 12th time. Take a look at the ERA. That's just limited action. But it's nice to see him healthy, and he's got a tough task. He's got Lindor with runners at the corners in a 1-1 tie.
Well, the situation you're afforded is there is one base that you could put Lindor on. You could load the bases. You wouldn't intentionally walk him, but you could put him on and then face Austin Jackson, although Terry Francona has Michael Brantley on the bench as a possible chip.
Yeah, whenever you have a bat that good, you're going to pick the most advantageous time to use him. And because I think they're going right at Lindor, Jackson will stay in the game. But, and I'm sure it has not escaped the mind of Rick Renteria or Don Cooper that Brantley is sitting on that bench.
Zimmer at first, Urshela at third.
So keep your eye on Zimmer because he will take off.
There he goes. No incentive to throw through. It's 2 strikes now on Lindor.
Stolen base number 4 for the Indians today as they've been a running bunch. Got 58. They've only been caught 18 times, and that is stolen base number 13 for the talented center fielder of the Tribe.
Oh, 2 on Lindor. Reaches out to poke it foul, so still a ball and 2 strikes.
He did a good job of staying alive because I'm not sure how that one was going to be called. It did have a little piece of the plate, but it was too close to take, and Lindor choking up on the bat, able to just barely stay alive, but he'll see at least one more pitch.
One ball, 2 strikes. Down low, 2-2. Similar swing to the previous foul ball. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And a fan had that one in his hands and it rattled around. As he missed it. Now fan behind him gives the youngster the souvenir.
And now time called by Smith to go out to talk to Petrichka. Here comes the infield. 7th inning caucus. Do you like the infielders in on your conversation, Steve, when you were pitching?
I didn't.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Two balls, 2 strikes. 2nd and 3rd, 2 out, and it's popped up. Short left field. Garcia makes the catch, and the Indians strand a pair in this 7th inning. 1-1 your score. Abreu leads it off. Bottom 7 as we will stick around and take a listen to God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, at Major League ballparks across America each Sunday, The singing of God Bless America is performed in support of our country and our men and women stationed overseas. Please welcome Miles Hayes for the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light up above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Every device, watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Time now for a Dodge upcoming schedule. The Indians depart, go to Boston, and Toronto comes here for 3. Then we will take on the Red Sox at Fenway for the off day, and Houston and Kansas City on what appears to be a pretty tough homestand coming up.
Looks like Chris Sale on Sunday at Fenway Park.
See your authorized Dodge dealer to experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Go to Dodge.com and check out our powerful lineup. Seeing Chris Sale on any day is not good, but on a getaway day, if you're going to face him, it's a good day to face him.
Though the Red Sox bullpen has blown another lead today. Matt Barnes gave up 4 runs on 3 hits without getting an out. Kansas City at last check had taken the lead on Boston.
I think they were looking for a reliever to help Kimbrel out, but the cost of a bona fide late inning, either premier setup man or closer, is high.
Urshela at third throws out Abreu and 1 down in the 7th inning. Sox have been 1 hit so far, but it was a very important hit. It left the ballpark to right field for Leury Garcia. And a 1-1 tie in the 7th inning on getaway day for Cleveland. The Sox will stay to face the Blue Jays. 7:10 start time tomorrow. Marco Estrada against James Shields. Remember, James made his first start off the DL against the Blue Jays as Lindor throws to first on Davidson. 2 ground ball outs to start the 7th.
It'll be Toronto's best in that 3-game series. Estrada, Stroman, and Happ face Shields, Pelfrey, and Derek Holland.
Two out for Yohan Moncada. And ball 1. Moncada a ground ball to first and a strikeout today. He was the first batter to face Goody back in the 5th. The ground out came against Josh Tomlin, the starter, who was out with a hamstring injury after 4. See if Yohan gets something good to hit on 2-0. He didn't.
I would think with Smith, Anderson, Garcia, and Engel up next, you might want to give Moncada the 3-0 green light and see how far he can hit it if he gets a strike.
He didn't. Again, ball 4. First walk today for a Sox batter. And that may have been a pitch around.
Well, you would think. But now, the danger of putting him on base, and I think he probably was trying to throw a strike, just couldn't. But the danger is that he is a very good base stealer. So Perez probably warming up that arm behind the plate, getting ready to throw it. Because you would think somewhere in this sequence, Yohan's going to be going.
Strike 1 to Smith, who grounded out in the 2nd to shortstop, struck out looking in the 5th. On the ground, up the middle into center field. Moncada watching it the whole way, will slow into second. 2 on, 2 out for Tim Anderson.
Just the 2nd hit of the game as Kevin Smith takes it right back up the middle, leaving it up to Tim Anderson. So Otero, who was placed on waivers 3 different times, was picked up 3 different times. The Yankees got him off waivers. Athletics got him off waivers. The Phillies got him off waivers. And then Cleveland bought him from Philadelphia 2015.
First pitch, a strike from Otero to Anderson. Tim 0 for 2 as he reached on an error in the 3rd. Sox trailed from the 3rd inning through the top of the 6th. Then Leury Garcia with the first hit of the game. It was a home run. And now Anderson with a chance to give the Sox their first lead. On the ground, Lindor at shortstop goes the short way. And probably the smart way with Tim's speed to retire the side. 2 stranded. To the 8th we go in a 1-1 deadlock.
Game. Indians have out hit our Sox 6-2. Carlos Rodon was brilliant, 6 2/3, just 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts with a couple of walks. Lindor and Liuri with solo home runs in the 3rd to 6th, respectively. Great deals waiting for you now at your local Honda dealer.
To the 8th, strike 1 to Austin Jackson, who's 2 for 3 with a couple of singles today. Good series for Austin in terms of hits. He is 5 for 11. On the ground to third, Saladino across the way for out number 1. And time now for America's fastest growing sensation, where we quiz Steve about his own career. Who's the last Indian you struck out in your final start against Cleveland? George Orta, Joe Charbonneau, Rick Manning.
Joe Charbonneau.
You know it.
Well, he's the only right-hander. I mean, maybe I struck out the other 2 guys, but it would be very infrequently. I think I struck out only 2 left-handers in my career.
In your career?
Yeah.
What if they were those 2?
Then I would be wrong. 33% chance, you know.
You do have the rules down pat. Congratulations. You've been reading the rule book. It's nice to see. No balls and a strike on Ramirez. Carlos Rodon gave the bullpen a nice breather today, 6 2/3. So Petrichka, the first guy used.
And the pen up and going. Double barreled action.
Outside, ball and 2 strikes.
Bummer and Beck.
One and 2. Off the fists into center field. A slow roller that finally dies in the glove of Engel. Ramirez fights off a single here in the 8th. And here is your Sticks and Stone answer. Let's see if Steve is right. Rick Manning.
Ooh.
From the Cleveland TV booth nowadays.
I actually did strike him out, huh?
Congratulations.
Wow, thanks.
I mean, not forgetting it right.
Seemed like just yesterday.
Did you strike him out yesterday?
No, it seems like just yesterday.
Thought maybe there was an impromptu game in the press box, and it was just yesterday. Encarnacion takes a fast strike with Ramirez at first. He does have one of the 4 stolen bases today for Cleveland. Not that you would send him here with Encarnacion at the plate, but there is some speed available. Down the line and foul, 2 strikes.
Now time for StatCast, powered by AWS. In the 3rd inning, it's a double play. And if you're wondering, the exchange and how quickly that happened, or the arm strength, and just exactly what it was, there it is. What it means, you got me.
Well, it's a quick exchange.
Very quick exchange. Arm strength, 68, whatever.
Miles per hour.
Yeah, that's good.
Not joules or anything. Nope.
Joules, I like that.
0-2. That's outside. Smith tried to get it for Jake.
Good call. This pitch is off the plate. And Kevin caught it nicely. Didn't really abruptly move the glove over. Kind of eased it into the zone.
Encarnacion fouls it into the Sox dugout, where Todd Steverson is not residing. He's been ejected from the game, arguing balls and strikes by the plate umpire today, Lance Barrett. Ramirez, the lead run at first. Down low, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
When Encarnacion is going well, and he hasn't had many periods early in his Indians career of going all that well, but he's got big power to right center and straightaway center field. His fastball is going to be away. Let's see if he can get it by him.
Answer is no. It's down the right field line and foul. So Ramirez back to first. Cleveland with a 9-game win streak, the hottest team in Major League Baseball at 57-45. Opening play today, the second best record in the American League, behind only Houston, which is trailing big. In fact, so big that Tyler White, the position player, has come in to pitch for the Astros, down 11-0 in the 8th inning.
That'll save your pen. Saladino came on to talk with Petrichki. He wanted to know if he was going to throw Encarnacion inside.
Encarnacion to right field. Willie Garcia, 2 down. Trying to get the defense and the pitcher on the same page.
Well, what happens many times in a situation where the last pitch was away from Encarnacion, and that's what happened on the pitch before. What Saladino wants to know when he comes to the mound and Kevin Smith goes out there, he wants to know if they're planning to throw him inside with a sinker or perhaps a slider. If they're going to throw either of those two pitches, he's going to move closer to the line to take away a 2-base hit. But if you're going to stay away, then he was going to play in the same position where he played before, and that was well off the line.
Two out, Ramirez at first for Santana. Well, if there was any interest in seeing what Yohan Moncada could do in the outfield, we are getting a look at it considering the shift that's on for Santana right now. Moncada is tending to a piece of Roger Bossard's grass in short right.
Santana's always been a dead pull hitter. He actually is a pull hitter from both sides of the plate, much more a dead pull hitter from the left side of the plate. And there you see the defense with Anderson well on the first base side of second base.
Ball and a strike on Santana. Adrian Beltre with his 3,000th career hit, and congratulations to one of the good guys in baseball for that milestone. Santana hits right into the shift. Anderson was there for a reason, and the inning's over. We go bottom 8 in a 1-1 tie.
Powered by Xfinity, the future of awesome. And it is a line drive, but the shift got him. Tim Anderson right there on that sinking line drive, and it's out of the inning with the 1-1 game preserved. Got a new pitcher for the Indians. It is Brian Shaw.
Shaw was the losing pitcher on the day of the last Cleveland loss. That was back on the 19th of this month, as the Indians lost Game 3 to the Giants on the road. They lost 2 of 3 in San Francisco.
They had a tough West Coast trip against two teams that aren't powerhouses.
2 balls, no strikes on Garcia from the rubber-armed right-hander Brian Shaw. There's a strike, 2-1.
Shaw's fastball always looks like a cutter as Tyler Clippard gets ready in the pen.
Called strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That did have the zone, according to PitchCast. Two. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Shaw to Garcia, leadoff batter, 8th inning, and Willie Garcia hits it in the air right-hand side. Santana and Ramirez, and it's Ramirez for out number 1. The Xfinity Fundamentals deck in left field is accessible from all levels of Guaranteed Rate Field. The space features batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and skill instruction from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. Check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform. X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV. Hope it'll serve food for you.
They might. That's part of the fundamentals.
That would change the experience.
No doubt.
TV.
Especially here.
1 strike to Engel. He's looking for his first hit in this series. Sox are trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Toronto's in tomorrow for the first of 3, then off to Boston for 4. Then our first look at the Astros the following week as they come here to Guaranteed Rate Field. First base side, foul ground. Santana over his shoulder, can't make the play.
His spikes caught. He went tumbling into the seats. And see if he emerges unscathed. As he was going back trying to gauge exactly where he was, he stumbled right there and then could not stop himself from going head first into the crowd, and hopefully that woman doesn't get spiked. Yep. She got hit with 1 spike, but apparently she's okay.
Apparently Santana is as well. Engel jammed, popped it up, and Lindor at shortstop for out number 2.
Time now for our 4th drive of the game, and it's the 6th inning home run off the bat of Yuri Garcia. Broke up the no-hitter, the shutout, tied the game at 1, and that's where we stand. Visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com.
Garcia takes ball number 1. So the Indians have used 3 relievers, Goody, Otero, and Shaw, after the injury to Tomlin coming out to throw his warm-up tosses in the 5th inning when he still had a no-hitter in this game. No-hitter that lasted through 5 2/3 before that home run. Second base, Ramirez from outfield grass with a high throw and a stretch from Santana, who had a rather eventful inning, visiting with some Chicagoans as well. 1-1 your score at the end of 8.
Game. We saw him last night. He pitched an inning. He walked a couple, but he got out without giving up a run. On for the 46th time. The ERA right around 5, a 1-6 record. And he's going to face the bottom part of the Indian order.
Clippard a 1.86 ERA in April, 1.46 in May, trying to get back there as he faces Brandon Guyer first in this 9th inning. Petrichka an inning and a third, 1 hit, 5 balls in play. Rodon 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, 6 2/3, just the 1 earned run on the Lindor home run. Foul ball on the first pitch from Guyer. So 1 strike from Clippard to Guyer here in the 9th inning. Just a couple of solo home runs. Lindor and Leury Garcia just off the disabled list for your 1-1 score in the series finale. Sox trying to avoid the sweep with a walk-off win today. No balls and 2 strikes. Clippard to Guyer, who's yet to put a ball in play today. A walk and 2 strikeouts. Ball and 2 strikes from Clippard, former Washington National. Oscillated in and out of the closer's spot. One and 2. And a changeup low. To make the argument that pitch number 3 was strike 3, he didn't get the call. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Geyer clips it foul. Sox in the bottom of the 9th will bring up Saladino, Abreu, and Davidson. There are also 2 switch hitters on the bench and the lefty Narvaez, so some options for Ricky Renteria in terms of handedness as Urshela waits his turn. Strike 3. Clippard goes up high for strikeout number 10 for Sox pitching today.
Time now for our Mazda replay cam. It's a high fastball, and for the 3rd time, Geyer's down on strikes to go with that 1 walk.
1 out, nobody on for Urshela, who singled to center in the 7th against Carlos Rodon. Foul ball wide of third. Mike Sarbaugh, the third base coach for the Cleveland Indians, longtime manager in their farm system.
Big gap in left center field.
One and one. Urshela pops it up. Anderson waving for it. Now Tim Bales, and Leury Garcia collects it for out number 2.
It's the right way to do it. Let Anderson go back as far as he can, but it's an easier play for the outfielder facing the play. Tim calls, but then he gives way. Good communication that time.
Garcia had no more use for the baseball, so he flipped it.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
Out with you.
2 down for Perez. I think that phrase rolled off your tongue a little bit too familiarly, right?
With the baseball?
Yeah.
It's sometimes the umpire eventually would tell you, you have to throw the ball I'm giving you. I used to throw a lot of them back.
Did you really?
Yeah. Because of the feel. Especially if you're a breaking ball pitcher, you prefer higher seams. And you can pretty much tell right when you grab a baseball if you're gonna like it or not. Cody Allen. He's getting ready. He is their closer.
One ball, 1 strike on the catcher Perez, who's 0 for 3. That's a 1 hopper. Series finale, Cleveland trying to make it 10 straight in the win column. Longest win streak for the Indians since a 14-gamer last year in June and the first day of July. 3 balls and a strike. Clippard on 3-1 to Perez. Ball socked down the line and fair into the corner it goes on 1 hop and touched. So that's a double for Perez with 2 out in the 9th inning. And we'll see if he stays out to run or not.
He's coming out. So a changeup. He stayed back long enough and drilled it down the line. So as Eric Gonzalez comes on a pinch run for him, a fan touches the baseball.
That one was bound to end up on somebody's palm.
2 bases either way, so.
So Gonzalez in. They'll use Gomes to catch in the bottom of the 9th, leaving just Brantley on the bench. Clippard against Zimmer. Lead run at second base with Gonzalez. '24-year-old center fielder Bradley Zimmer. Takes a high strike. Cleveland, remember, won the game in the 9th last night on a bases loaded hit by pitch of Brandon Guyer, who was hitting for Gonzalez. One ball, one strike.
Here's a look at Brad Goldberg loosening in the pen.
Two balls, one strike. Long look from Clippard. Now time call. Tyler Clippard, who made his major league debut with the Yankees back in 2007. Bounced around after a long stint with Washington to Oakland and the Mets and Arizona and the Yankees again. And he looks a little frustrated with Kevin Smith.
Well, pretty much it's put down something and throw it.
While we have a moment, here is a non-exhaustive list of players that Tyler Clippard has been traded for. Jonathan Albaladejo, Yunel Escobar, Vicente Campos, and Casey Meissner. There you go. 2-1. Outside, 3 balls and a strike.
Although the fans might have thought this one was close, missed by about 5 inches outside.
3 balls, 1 strike. Gonzalez at second. Zimmer takes a strike. Tyler Lee Clippard, 32-year-old, trying to take down Zimmer.
Might be waiting for Brad to fall asleep. Try to sneak one in under his hands.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch is tipped into the glove. Clippard scrubs Zimmer, and the inning is over. 1-1 to the bottom of the 9th. Clippard buzzes it by Zimmer.
is a 3-2 fastball right by Zimmer. State Farm here to help life go right.
So Yolmer Sanchez is going to pinch hit for Saladino to lead off this home ninth. To bat left-handed. Sanchez, Abreu, and Davidson. Strike one. Sox have played 6 extra inning games this year. Cleveland 4. Sox are 3-3. The Indians are 3-1. Hopefully that cart is well before a horse. Just getting you ready for the possibility.
Oh.
No balls, 2 strikes. Sanchez fights it off to first, and Santana for out number 1. So the Sox now have Narvaez and Hansen on the bench. Yan Gomes in to catch for Cleveland here in the bottom of the 9th. That leaves only Brantley on the Cleveland bench as Abreu, who's 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. He comes up with 1 out, nobody on. Abreu and Davidson, the top 2 home run men on this team with 39 combined. Looking for that one swing to end the day with a smile.
Looking for that same fastball he got from Corey Kluber in the 3rd inning of last night's game. Hit a 3-run bomb and made it a 4-3 game. There is a look at the ace of the Cleveland staff, Corey Kluber.
One and one. Abreu fouls it off. Ball and 2 strikes. Cleveland went a long while without playing an extra inning game after the early one in April against the Sox. That victory for Cleveland on April the 11th. That was a 10-inning win. Took months to play the next extra inning game as Cleveland finally played its next game in extras on July the 18th. But the Indians since then have had 2 more. So the last 2 weeks of July, Cleveland's played 3 extra inning games.
They usually, you would think, have a tremendous advantage in extra innings because of that bullpen they've got.
Still 2-2 on Abreu. I guess when you're winning most of your games, you want to stay at the ballpark as long as possible. 9 in a row for Cleveland. That came after losing 6 out of 7.
Yeah, that was that trip, that West Coast trip, which was really tough on him.
2-2. Don't forget, the Birmingham team in Double-A played 21 innings last night.
Hard to forget. Except if you happen to be one of the Barons.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Abreu to left field, down the line. Fair ball, off the wall on a couple bounces. He's on his way to second. Stand-up double, one down in the ninth for Jose.
That appeared to be a hanging slider right up in the eyes of Jose, who will depart this game for Alan Hansen, carrying with him the winning run. That one hangs right up at his eyes, and Shaw is very fortunate that stayed in the park because Jose crushed it. It's a mistake that Shaw did not get away with. And he leaves it up to Davidson and Moncada, with Alan Hansen carrying with him the winning run.
Davidson 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. His only hit in the series was a home run.
Missed arm in the outfield is in center field with Bradley Zimmer. With the speed of Hansen on a base hit up the middle, they're going to be hard pressed to throw him out.
Ball and a strike to Davidson. Moncada next, then Kevin Smith. Only one bench player left for the Sox, and it is backup catcher Omar Narvaez. Ball and a strike. Davidson drills it. Left center field. No matter where it lands, it's over. It's gone. Davidson plays hero. 3-1. See you later.
With a 110 exit velocity, Matt Davidson, who's trying to get away from all of the liquid refreshments being poured on his head. A very excited team. The losing streak put to rest. The Indians will travel to Boston with a loss under their belts, and a very happy group of White Sox.
Home run number 21 for Matt Davidson, a game winner.
He got a fastball. It was up and out over the plate, and it left in a hurry. When you get up to 110 for exit velocity, all it has to do is get up above the wall, and it's going out of the park. And Matt Davidson's enormously strong. Driving in runs 47 and 48, and an exciting way to end the ball game and send Cleveland to a head-to-head with the Red Sox.
Nice comeback win for the Sox, who had to wait a while for that first hit. It was a Leury Garcia home run, and now Davidson, who's going to need a new jersey at some point down the line, gets the win for the Sox on the home run. And nice to see the fight in this team after a tough first couple of innings.
Well, certainly today, Carlos Rodon showed why he's going to be a top-of-the-rotation starter, because he started out with the same field that he's had recently, which wasn't all that good. Then as soon as the field came to him, he started working more quickly, getting everything over the plate. It was a terrific bounce-back performance for him, and we saw a little peek into the future of what Carlos Rodon is going to be. We saw it here today against a very good Cleveland team.
We're joined downstairs by Matt Davidson. Congratulations. What were you looking for there?
I mean, if you could have noticed, maybe just a strike. but yeah, you know he throws cutters, and just trying to get one in the zone and put a good swing on it.
You did an exceptional job of trying to avoid all of the Gatorade as they tried to get it all over you, but it had to be a wonderful moment when the ball left the bat. Did you know it was out?
I hit it pretty good. I hit it kind of a line drive though, so I was just hoping. I mean, I was just glad to friggin' get a hit and get this team a W, man. It's been rough. It's been rough, but this one's gonna be good for us, and so it didn't matter if it went out or not. I was just trying to get Hosey in or Hanson in.
What's it like for you watching some of your teammates leaving and trying to keep the energy up? How do you help with that?
Well, I mean, it's my first experience with that, and I think a lot of us too. So, I mean, it's been hard for us, but you know, our staff, and we're getting, you know, we're staying together and trying the best we can, and you know, it's all like a new experience for us. So we're trying to build a future here, and we're going to try to continue doing that.
I don't know if you noticed, but you had a game winner. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah,
Matt
that
Davidson.
one felt good.
Thank you, sir.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Matt gets a game winner. It's a 2-run homer, and the Sox win. He's very frank there. You know, it's tough seeing some guys leave, but you soldier on.
Well, look, it is very tough when the team is doing what it's doing, but the individual performances are setting the groundwork for better times to come. And Matt Davidson looks like he's going to be right in the middle of that because he is a hugely powerful right-handed slugger. So stay with us. We'll be back with more.